if everything has gone according to plan, we should be live on YouTube and Twitch. Maybe, I don't know, Twitch is a complete foreign concept to me. I have no idea how to even check. See this? It says it's live on Twitch. Oh, you can't see it. I can. But it says it's live on Twitch, but just displaying as black. I hit refresh, and now it says it's offline. And it does that every single time I try to stream on this. I have no idea if it's even streaming or not. What I also have no idea what's going on is with my hair. I have no idea why it looks so bad today. According to a lot of comments, it always looks bad, but either way, that's besides the point. Yeah. Weekends with Avrona is going to be a very short one because, well, there's a lot going on today, but it is still going to be an interesting one because if you probably heard, and you probably did, Xbox is not feeling the best right now. What is actually going on with my hair? What is this? How is this happening? Now I made it even worse. Anyway, so yeah, Xbox not really feeling that well. We all knew that, and I think it's beautiful how it's just been the race to see which gaming company is just the worst now, between Xbox shooting themselves in the foot, Sony shooting themselves in the foot, and Nintendo winning by default by just having the president nonchalantly announcing the Switch 2 at like 3 AM in the morning in the most just low-key way possible. It was beautiful, just the most Nintendo thing ever, and they just went by default pretty much. I don't think I have to talk about what Sony did. And now it's Xbox who just doing bad decision after bad decision. And in general, things are looking pretty bleak. They are the loser of the generation for the second time in a row now, the Xbox One. Actually, no, I don't think they can be counted as the loser. I'm pretty sure the Xbox One did outsell the Wii U. And if we're counting the Switch as a 9th gen console, which I guess we kind of have to, then, you know, the Switch is obviously the winner, then the PS5, and, you know, the Xbox Series X and S below that. Granted, sales are still pretty decent, but very much slowing down. And as much as I am on the Xbox side of things, between Sony and Microsoft, I think definitely Sony are still the worst company overall. It's a hard contest, but I know. Actually, between Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, who's the worst company right now? Nintendo are just being Nintendo. They're still very trigger happy when it comes to copyright and making sure no one can even access the old games. You now have to pay, you know, eBay scalper pricing just to replay old games that aren't getting re-released or remastered or whatever. And in general, they took so long to give us a console that isn't awful. We'll talk about the Switch 2 next week, don't worry, we'll get to it. In the meantime, Microsoft are shutting down beloved studios, and in general, there's no many reasons to buy an Xbox, apart from it just being a really good value if you want to get a console rather than a PC. And then Sony is just also being Sony and evil in so many different ways. So it's very difficult for me to even tell who to root for here. I should probably list my personal stake with it. I have been with Xbox since the 360. I had a 360 and an Xbox One S. In the meantime, my only Sony console was the PS2. So, and I think that's going to be my only PlayStation console for the foreseeable future, unless something major changes. So for me, I don't really have a horse in this race. I'm on the PC Master Race side. That's my horse, as cringe as that probably sounds for me to say. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about what on earth is going on over at Microsoft now, because it's been nothing short of beautiful, an absolute train wreck. I think The Verge, Tom Warren has been writing some pretty amazing coverage of everything that's been going wrong for Microsoft in the past week or so. What I find absolutely beautiful here is that the head of, Arcane Leon, which isn't one of the studios that's been impacted, but Arcane's sister studio from another city has been impacted, just speaking out against the company that owns her company. It's just been, and then of course them also debating whether or not to even put Call of Duty on Game Pass. It's amazing. The Game Pass was the thing that, it was the only thing that Xbox cared about for a while, but now they actually have to debate if it's going to make financial sense to put COD, one of the biggest gaming franchises ever, they just purchased for a huge, complete unmanageable amount of money, and now they're debating it if to even put it on Game Pass. That sounds like the kind of things you would do beforehand, not after you spend what's it, like 70 billion or something on Activision Blizzard. Anyway, so on the software side, them being in a very turbulent situation, that is nothing new. That is nothing new. And I think also this is absolutely beautiful. You may have seen bits of this interview with the president of Xbox that isn't Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer has a completely different role. He's like kind of the head of Xbox. I guess it's just like a corporate president. I recommend you watch this entire interview with Bloomberg Tech. It is pretty bad, pretty much all of the president's answers, but I think the best thing is she just trying to make up a reason for shutting down Tango Gameworks, but not coming up. And while she's trying to give this answer about, like, things going, well for Xbox, but really, you have to really reconsider what's going on, they just showed this graph up here, right above her head. Right above the president of Microsoft, president of Xbox's head, they showed this graph showing how Xbox is just not really feeling that well right now. Yikes. They did it absolutely on purpose. It's beautiful. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. And that kind of leads to the question of, if that line isn't going back up again, if interest in the Game Pass, which has been driving a lot of that growth, has stagnated, if interest in the hardware has stagnated, then what next? Well, one thing, I know you're probably tired of me talking about it at this point, but I think it's as good of a chance as any for Xbox to turn things around, is the partnership with Meta, of all things, for the next Xbox VR headset. Well, why saying next? The very first Xbox VR headset. I've been saying for a long time that the Xbox needs something else. It had the Kinect for a while, but for whatever reason, Microsoft dropped it. I still am a very big fan of the Kinect. I still think it should have been kept or whatever. And now it is VR. That's the next big thing. We all know that it's the next big thing. And that headset, which you've probably seen teased by Mark Zuckerberg, which they are doing in collaboration with Xbox, running on Meta Horizon OS, that is at least something to keep people interested. However, I do definitely think they should go further than that. I think opening up the Xbox to have even more compatibility of VR headsets. Imagine if, instead of just using your PC for VR, you can use your Xbox, hook it up to your Quest 3 or whatever other third-party headset, and use your Xbox, use the insane horsepower inside of it to drive it. I think it would be awesome. And it ties together to another video I'm planning on doing, and that's about the slow and painful demise of PC VR as a concept, largely actually due to Meta, and many ways that they're at fault in this. So again, that's a concept for another video. But yeah, bring back VR, and bring back Kinect, reintroduce something that gives people a reason to buy an Xbox. Again, the main reason for a lot of people to even buy an Xbox is the fact that you just can't build a gaming PC at its price with the same kind of performance. So that is the whole point of the Xbox and the value proposition of the Xbox, but it still just needs a bit more to make people care. In terms of Game Pass, Call of Duty is obviously a big reason why. It will be a big reason to get Game Pass. However, all of a sudden, they're facing a very strange conundrum where for the longest time, they just did everything. They spent just huge money giving away, Game Pass, like free trial memberships, just absolutely buying up every single game possible, paying huge sums to developers to have their games on Xbox Game Pass day one. And now they're facing the difficult choice of whether it's even worth it in the end, because numbers are stagnating, and they now need to crunch the numbers on what's going to make the most financial sense to not have COD on Game Pass and make Game Pass, maybe not, it's definitely not going to be like a death blow to Game Pass, but it's going to definitely hurt it a lot, or put it on Game Pass and then have people, sure, the memberships are going to go up, and they're going to love it. Investors love recurring revenue like that. But it's probably going to make them less money than just selling copies of Call of Duty for $60, $70, $100 for the special, ooh, look at me, how much I overpay for my games edition, it's gonna hurt them. So what is poor old Microsoft to do in this situation? I know, feeling sorry for like $1 trillion company isn't the greatest thing in the world, but at the same time, it's a very difficult situation for them to be in. And all of a sudden you have a company like Nintendo, who are very evil in their own way, even if they try to hide behind a friendly facade of your Marios and your Pokemons and whatnot. All of a sudden you have them on top with the Nintendo Switch threatening to overtake the PS2 as the most sold console of all time. Which, by the way, I'm also making a video on about that, because I'm not allowing the Switch of all things to beat the PS2 as the best selling console ever. That ain't happen. Again, video about that in the future. So yeah, it is a very weird situation for Xbox in general. Like I said, I do recommend this whole full interview because it's so painful. It's clear that they they closed down studios like GameWorks, Tango GameWorks, just on what they saw on spreadsheets alone, and they just didn't they just like didn't see the huge amount of community love for Hi-Fi Rush. And what I find absolutely hilarious is how we see just the amount of positive Steam reviews just shoot up exponentially. Basically the reverse of what happened with Helldivers 2 happening with Hi-Fi Rush, for people, you know, just signaling their solidarity with Tango Gameworks. And what makes it the worst, I don't have the tweet up right now. I actually don't know why, I've kind of just forgot to bring it up. However, someone saw a tweet of the president of Xbox, Sarah Bond, I believe. Yes, Sarah Bond, tweeting out a tweet in response to Tango Gameworks, like a 14th year anniversary, I believe. Yeah, greatly researched by me, I know. It was something like that, like a great anniversary of Tango Gameworks, and she responded to that saying, "Here's to many more." And that was back, posted in March, where they were probably still having discussions, probably some initial discussions, someone bringing it up in a boardroom somewhere about the studio being potentially closed down. They had an inkling. They must have had an inkling. That was like, what, 2 months ago? They must have at least some inkling of an idea that something could probably happen. But she still went along and said that back in March. What happened between then and now? Actually, anyway, I could talk about a lot of this for a lot longer, but like I said, I'm making separate videos about a few of these things I talked about today. I want to make a separate video about the Nintendo Switch just being the winner of the generation by default, and how it irks me it's becoming the best console in the world, best selling console in the world. I'm making a separate video about the Switch 2 in general. That's going to be next week's Week in Avrona. My idea is, I'm going to try to persuade / blackmail / whatever works Cam, who is like the only artistically talented person over at Avrona World. The idea is that I want me and hopefully Jake as well discussing what we want the Switch 2 to look like, going over some of the leaks, because yes, there have already been leaks of what the Switch 2 does supposedly look like. So we want to basically talk about that while she, in real time, doodles some of our ideas. And by the end of the live stream, we should ideally have some kind of very basic sketch of what a Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever, the successor to the Switch, will look like. I think it's gonna be a really awesome stream. It's like a mix between an art stream and a tech stream. So I think it's gonna be really, really awesome. I think it's a really cool idea. So subscribe so you don't miss it. Because if you like either of those, and Cam is a great artist, I think it's going to be a really fun stream. Again, I will have to actually convince her to do that, but that's going to be fine. That's going to be hopefully fine. And apart from that, the last thing I gotta say it, is Computex is just around the corner, less than a month away now. It's happening in early June, and we can only go to Computex with your help. We are going there with no sponsors, at least trying to go there with no sponsors at all. So your help via Patreon, YouTube memberships, super thanks, that is all essential if you want to help us go to Computex, because without it, well, we just can't go. So plenty of exciting stuff coming up, and again, without your help, it can't happen. And again, even if you're in the live stream right now, leave a super chat. If you're watching on Twitch, then I'm sorry for you, but go over to YouTube and leave a super chat, because it does go a long way. But anyway, that's it for this quick week to Avrona. I'm off first. There's a match going on I need to watch, and after that is Eurovision. Yeah, the Eurovision finals are going to be an absolute dumpster fire this year. I love Eurovision, don't get me wrong, but it's just going to be pure chaos, and I don't think we can escape from the finals without anyone getting stabbed. But anyway, if you're watching the Eurovision, let me know what you think is going to happen if you don't, and or if you're just not even European and you're wondering what on earth is going on here at, on the old continent. Don't worry, I have no idea what's going on either. But anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, this live stream. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in the next. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.